Hi, in this session we are going to discuss about credit memo. We are going to discuss only credit memo, not debit memos. We are going to discuss on what is a credit memo, how to create a credit memo, and how to apply it to a standard invoice. Before we jump into that, let's try to understand few basic points. What is an invoice? Invoice is a document that we send to the customers mentioning the amount of dollars that he needs to pay us. If he buys some goods from us, from an organization, we will be sending him an invoice saying that you need to pay X amount of dollars to us for the goods and services he has brought from the organization. And that invoice will have an amount which he needs to pay, which we also call as balance of the invoice. Credit memo is a negative amount to decrease the balance of the invoice. So after we send an invoice to the customer, if we want to reduce the balance of that invoice, we create a credit memo and apply it to the invoice so that the balance of the invoice can get reduced. So the question arises, why do we need to create a credit memo and then apply to an invoice which we already created? Because let's say after he brought it, if organization is going to give him some discount on top of that, then we'll create a credit memo and apply it to reduce the balance. Or if there is some manual or system error while creating the invoice which has increased the balance of the invoice, then we will create a credit memo and reduce the balance of the invoice. These are two simple possible scenarios, but there could be many other cases in the real time. I have just listed two. Now let's jump onto the instance and we will create a credit memo. We'll do the accounting for the credit memo and then we will apply the credit memo to a standard invoice and see whether the invoice balance is getting reduced or not. So the prerequisite here is we should have an invoice already created and completed. I didn't add those steps here, but I'll first show you one invoice that I have created today. Here, if you see this invoice number 137765 for the customer computer service and rentals for an balance having balance of 114.71. This is a standard invoice which I have created and completed. We'll be using credit memo and we will apply that credit memo to this invoice. We'll create a credit memo for $20 and this invoice amount will be reduced by another $20. That is what we are going to see. Coming back to the steps, I'm not going to create a transaction type transaction source because whatever I have created in the previous classes or sessions, the instance got refreshed. So we will use the standard Oracle provided transaction types and sources and we will proceed our demo. Now let us create the credit memo. To create the credit memo, let us go to the receivables application, click on billing, click on task list, click on create transaction. Here select transaction class as credit memo. Business unit is, let us take US business unit because our invoice was created in US business unit. Transaction source is manual. Transaction type, let us use the existing transaction type credit memo. Transaction number, let us give some random number. Let us select the customer. In our invoice, we used customer computer services and rentals. So let us select the same thing. Scroll down. Select a memo line and let us take quantity 1 so that make it -1 because credit memos uh, amount will be negative quantity. So we are trying to reduce the actual invoice amount by $35. So now its total is $35. Let us say complete and review. So the credit memo has been completed. We can see the status as complete and a number has been generated 7766. Our invoice number is 137765 and credit memo number is transaction number is 137766. Now let us apply this credit memo to the invoice. To do that, the navigation is go back to the receivables, click on account receivables, click on task list, navigate to credit memos, click on manage credit memo applications, search for the credit memo 137766. 137766. Edit. Now click on plus icon, add application. Here select the actual invoice, AR invoice number. In our case, it's 137765. Yeah, so it applied $38.24. We created invoice credit memo for $35. The remaining amount seems to be tax, and that we are applying to the standard invoice, which was $114. Because of that, it has reduced from $114 to $76.47. Amount due has been reduced. So click on save, click on actions. Let us first save this application. Save and close. Click on post to journal. Accounting has been created. So this has debited the revenue and receivables and similarly credited the revenue and receivables. Basically, there are two actions. We created a credit memo and we applied that. Creation will credit the receivables and debit the revenue, and application activity will debit and credit the receivables account only. I'll not go in detail on the accounting right now. It can confuse us. So I'll move to the standard invoice that we have created and I'll see whether the balance has been reduced or not. Go to billing and click on manage transactions. Click on search with the today's date. Yeah, 137765. This is the invoice that we have created. Click on actions, view balance details. Yeah, if we see the original amount was 105, out of which the tax adding tax it got increased to 114.71. We have created a credit memo for $35 and there was tax applied on the top of it and total is 38.94, and this has been reduced from the actual invoice balance and the balance has become $76.47. So we have covered how to create a credit memo and apply it to the standard invoice and verify if the balance of the standard invoice got reduced. Yeah, thank you.